I think this Todd Bowley guy is nuts. Right? He is mental.
He's in a Champions League semi-final.
No.
That's your striker. You paid £100 million.
He came out and said he doesn't like playing.
Over there, man.
He came out and said he doesn't like playing for Chelsea. He doesn't want to be there.
You paid £100 million.
Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. It is Super Fan Debate. Arsenal are facing Chelsea on Tuesday night. Let's give a big round of applause to both teams. Actually, wait. Are we applauding both teams? We've got winless in 4 and we've got just winless, just generally. Sorry.
We just don't win.
You were meant to be a non-biased presenter.
I'm sorry. You're right. It's a big match. It's a top of the table clash, top of one half, top of the other.
What you just said, to be fair, is correct. It's correct. We are winless.
I've got it out my system. Wow. I'm now neutral.
We're not just winless. We're also goalless.
He scored 1 goal in the last 5.
This is actually a top of the table clash.
It was a Conor Gallagher deflection, actually.
Still a goaler, so if won it.
Apparently, it won April's goal of the month because it was the only one.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, you carry on.
Listen, we're not having the best of times ourselves as well. I just saw the best of enemy sets with bottles all over. So let's, we're not having the best time. But we're going to introduce everyone first. Let's start with the away team, of course. Welcome, Matisse.
Thank you.
And welcome, Sophie, as well. Join us, Sophie.
Thank you,
word from you both. Welcome to FTV.
Yeah, good to be here. Come in peace for sure.
I haven't been on Arsenal Fan TV in a long time. I am going to the game on Tuesday, so maybe I'll come for a little interview after or something. But it depends how I'm feeling, and if it's more than 3-0, I'm afraid I will be leaving it. It will be Toodaloo, yes. Toodles, no thanks. Don't wish to be a part of this.
And welcome to Robbie and Dan Potts, of course. How are you both?
Yeah, well, listen, could be doing better. You know what I mean? Still hurting from the other night. The Man City, defeat has really sort of deflated all the Arsenal fans. You know what I mean? But listen, it's all about now Arsenal just saying, let's try and win all our games or do as well as we can in all of our games until the end of the season and try and keep the pressure on Man City. Let's not make them run away with it like, finish a season 10 points ahead or something like that. I'd hate to see that. So I want Arsenal to go out there, starting with the Chelsea game and really, get back to winning ways, get the confidence back.
It's funny because it's Arsenal versus Chelsea. I don't know if I've ever seen this fixture have less on it in terms of the title looks it's done, but top 4's confirmed. Chelsea, with all just have nothing really to play for the rest of this Premier League season other than pride and getting ready for Pochettino, it looks like. And yet, I take my mind back to where we were, Orlando, the pre-season game, and I felt going into that pre-season, but I want to beat Chelsea. There's always still something about these games.
Yeah, it's taking it off of it a bit because of what's happened in midweek for me. But this game's always big, man. It's always big. And the last thing I want is to drop points to these lot because you know how bad things have been for them. You know how unsufferable and unbearable they'll be if they take anything from us. So I want to bounce back, man. Bounce back in the best way, innit?
Well, let's look beyond just the Tuesday game because the big question for this Superfan debate is who's got the brighter future? Now, we all know the trajectory this season, maybe even pouring into last season a little bit, but you've got a manager who spent a lot of money who, for all the criticism of Todd Bowley, of which I've been there to dish out quite a bit, he has shown ambition or care or whatever other words you want to say.
So I'm going to, if you don't mind,
go for it, please.
I'm just going to start with what I've said on another show today. And that is the fact that I think in order to sort of see how Chelsea's season's fallen apart, you have to go right from the beginning. And everything that happens at the top filters down. For something like this to happen, in my mind, it's like catastrophic. What's happened? We were so erratic. And Todd came in, he sacked everybody he didn't like without even giving them a chance to show, what they could bring to the club, what they could benefit as they have done for the last few years. I'm talking people in recruitment, I'm talking medical staff, people behind the scenes that know the structure of the club, got rid of all of them, appointed himself as an interim managing director until he found the people that he wanted and sort of tried to fix something that wasn't really broken. We only needed a couple of signings here and there. We then sack Tuchel for whatever reason that is. We may never know the real reason, but we obviously know it wasn't because of his ability. And bring in Potter, who has never managed Champions League, top flight. And then, so his job, Potter got so much criticism, but his job was sort of cut out for him from the beginning. So that's another thing. Then we've got players that we've signed that are all underperforming due to lack of confidence, poor coaching, all that sort of thing. And then with all the money that's spent, 500 million, we didn't sign any strikers. And that's all we really need to do. A couple of strikers and maybe an alternate right and left wing back. I don't really see the need for some of the signings. To me just seem like we went for Cucurella because City wanted him. We went for Mudryk because Arsenal wanted him, even though I think Mudryk will be a prospect for the future. But most of the signings he made were very based on what his competitors, who his competitors were interested in. And that's because he doesn't know what he's doing. Robbie, if I was a multi-millionaire and I went in and I bought a cyber security company and I said, I'm going to be managing director and I'm going to run the whole show, does it look like I know how to work a computer? Do I know anything about technology?
I've seen you on a computer. No, you don't have to work.
No, so I know how to work my phone and my Instagram, but it doesn't make any sense to do that. He's so uneducated on European football, let alone the Premier League and how competitive it is. Why would you do that other than his ambition has become arrogance? I don't know how. Well,
it sounds like you're conceding that Arsenal do have the better future. Matisse, do you have a defense?
Well, it depends if he needs to admit his wrongs, fix up, employ people that know what they're doing, and just take a seat back. Let people that know what they're doing run the show. It's all about you need to have the right people in the right places making the good decisions for any club.
Yeah.
I think it depends if we're talking about short-term, medium-term, long-term future. If we're
Yeah.
talking about short-term future, I'd still say it's heavily in your favour because you guys have got stability. Your team is set. You're going to make a couple of additions, or you should make a couple of additions in the summer, and then you kind of just have to go again. As long as the mindset and the mentality is right, and the players can kind of get over what's happened in this title race and use it to kick them on, there's no real reason why you should fade because everybody's singing from the same song sheet.
Sorry, you've also got some of the best young fit players that don't. We've got Reece James and Ben Chilwell, for instance, but they're 70% of the time they're injured.
Yeah.
Saka's been absolutely amazing, one of the best
Martinelli.
players in England. Yeah. So you have all these young players that actually can stay fit as well.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference, and we struggle with that. When it comes to us, our future is undecided. We don't even have a manager. So, when it comes to our future, we don't even know what's going to happen in terms of, is Todd Boehly going to start to kind of walk away from the reins and actually let the people he's employed from these sporting director, technical director, all of these different positions, is he going to let them do their job, or is he going to override their decision? Is he going to be a Roman who brings in a Shevchenko and a Fernando Torres when he feels like, or is he going to let them actually build the club in the image that he wants? These are the kind of question marks that we have that we're not really going to be able to answer until we see some sort of change from the ownership in terms of hiring, firing, and some sort of
I
stability.
hear
in the
that.
summer.
And I really want your thoughts on this, but I've got to ask though, because you're being very kind of polite about, Arsenal's short-term future and what the long-term, maybe for Chelsea is uncertain. But if I asked you, who's going to have, of the two, who's going to have more Premier League titles in the next 10 years?
I'm still always going to back us.
I
we
mean,
go.
I am, but I think this is the best I've seen Arsenal in the last 10 years. I mean, maybe not 10, but since you
More
had
trophies, I'll call it. 'cause
Yeah,
Premier
I-
League will be so hard to win. More trophies.
It's
I think
so
both
hard-
clubs will win trophies.
But it's so hard to predict because I said before the start of the season, I don't want to judge what Todd's going to be like because we don't know what he's going to be like and how he's going to run the club. But now we know it's up to him really. He either admits defeat and admits he's made some very, very poor and wrong decisions, or if he's going to continue on this whole run of, I know best, so I'm going to do this, going into the changing room at halftime during games. So if he's going to keep doing that, then he just needs to educate himself a little bit on what the Premier League is. And if he doesn't, then we're heading the same as this season or further down. But if he lets the manager get on, when Poch comes, if he lets him get on with his job, if he trusts him to do that, if we sign a couple of strikers and offload some of the players that realistically don't want to be here anymore,
Then-
for instance,
Yeah.
then I do believe we'll be competing again.
More trophies in the next 10 years. Who's going to...
I think tide is changing now. I think Arsenal in the future will be in a better position, especially in the league. Chelsea haven't competed for the league since they last won it. They haven't been nowhere near winning the league.
Who did
They
we last
haven't-
win it with? Conte?
Yeah.
With Conte, was it 2016, 17?
17, yeah.
And
Yeah.
they haven't, since then, they've been like 19 points off, 15 points off. One year, like about 30 points off. Look at this season. Miles off it, right? So I think they have a lot of rebuilding to do. And Todd Bowley, he reminds me of when Elon Musk, how he's gone into Twitter.
Yeah, it is actually, very similar,
Seriously,
actually.
it does. It reminds me of that, right? With Twitter, it was going along, seemed to be going all right. Not a lot wrong with it. There are things wrong with it, but not. And he's just basically just gone in it and just ripped it up and just caused chaos.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like. It seems like that. Chelsea seems like that as well. It's like, it seems very chaotic there. You know what I mean? When I saw him that time over in Madrid, talking about when they asked him the prediction and he said 3-0.
3-0.
And I just get the impression that like he's tried to come in and prove to the fans of Chelsea that, you know what, I can spend more money than Roman Abramovich. I can do exactly what he did. And I can, you know what I mean? And it's not working. And whereas I look at Arsenal, there seems to be more of a plan to what we're doing. You've seen with this season how we've progressed, right? All right. You know, we probably blown the league, but nobody gave us even a prayer of being where we were. But you can see a team that's progressing. You can see a team that's building from the foundations up. And I look on it and I think to myself, if you're a player right now and you can go to Chelsea or Arsenal, where are you going to go? I think players would be more attracted to come to Arsenal right now than it would be to Chelsea. I think Mudryk right now is at home every night crying, thinking, why did I come here, man?
Crying's a bit of an overstatement.
He's there
problem
every
is
night
that-
and he's saying to himself, I could have went to Arsenal, which would have fitted me better. The players would have fitted me. The style of football would have fitted me. And it's less chaotic. Yes, I'm at Chelsea. Yes, I'm getting the big pay packet. Yes, I'm at a big club. Still, Chelsea are a big club, obviously. I'm at a big club. I'm at a club, but that club across the red half there is more progressive.
But
And that's where I feel Declan Rice, who we don't know what will happen with him in the summer, but it was always rumoured that he'd probably go to Chelsea. I don't think he's thinking of Chelsea now. I think he's, obviously no Champions League
But
this season.
If you guys don't
But-
pay, then what outbid you? You know the money gun. You remember the sunglasses? We still have money.
Yeah, but I think.
So if you want if
yes,
you want the bid accepted,
but
you've
it's
gotta
only
pay.
money though, isn't it?
That's
It's
yeah,
starting to come to a
exactly.
stage with Chelsea
Yeah.
where it's only money because a lot of the players that you signed, I look even at Amari Hutchinson, who was at Arsenal, and he went for the bigger pay packet at Chelsea, but he's not going to get a chance there, is he? If he'd have stayed at Arsenal that's the next thing, as a young player coming through, say even at our academy, you can see a pathway at Arsenal into the first team. You can't at Chelsea. They've just gone and bought a load of other young players who are going to sit on top of their academy now. So how are the guys in the academy going to come through? There was that kid who played earlier on in the season at the right back. Lewis Hall.
Left side,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know what
He hasn't
happened
played
there.
since, has he? You know what
No.
I mean?
But he was. That I think again is poor coaching to an extent.
But that's what I'm
because
saying, Sophie.
Potter felt like he had to play.
But what I'm saying, we're talking about the
newbies.
future, right? So
Yeah.
if those guys ain't going to come through, if players are looking at it and saying, I don't get a chance at Chelsea, Levi Colville, who's been at Brighton, right? They haven't bought all these centre-backs, but they got him. I just think that the Chelsea thing's...
Double stacking.
It's imploding a bit, in my opinion, right? It's worked for you over the years. But I just feel that if you're trying to win a title or if you're trying to build towards winning a title, you've got to set foundations. I don't know.
No, it is true. It is true. And also the annoying thing about that is the only time we actually sort of began to bring youngsters through properly into the first team was when we had that transfer ban.
We're gonna
And
get
look
one.
And then
we're
we
gonna
had
get one
Mason,
soon.
Reece James, all these players coming through, and they were great. But so we sort of need. I'm a big believer.
And look how
I
good
think,
those youngsters have been.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big believer in the fact that you don't need to shop abroad when you've already got good homegrown players. Again, I think that's up to having a very good coach and owners who know what they're doing. And if, like I say, if Todd's not willing to admit his
And
mistakes,
you ain't going to give no one the time, are you? Because look with Graham Potter. So
Dan, you're never afraid to just say how you feel. If the club's doing great, you'll say it. If they're struggling, you'll say it. I'm going to put you on the spot here because Arteta, a manager you've doubted for a while. Mm-hmm. When you look at Arsenal's future and the feeling that he's going to be here still quite a while, do you think we've got a better future than Chelsea, even with all the money they're spending? Have the Cronkies turned you around as well?
So if the question was who's got a brighter future under Roman Abramovich, I'd always go Chelsea. I think this Todd Bowley guy is nuts, right? He is mental. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. The only comparison with him and Roman is money. That is it. Roman actually had the ambition to want to win, and he knew how to. This guy has proved to me in the early stages, he has no idea how to win anything. doesn't clearly understand the sport. If you walk into the Bernabeu and say we're going to win 3-0, you're already in cuckoo land as far as I'm concerned, right?
Not
When
even
you've
Ty
got-
would have done that.
Not even
tell you
Ty.
He would have said
combined
five.
wouldn't have done
Even,
that.
even you went to Ty, he might have said, boy, I'll take a draw.
Yeah.
Right? And Tom Bowley saying they're going to win 3-0.
Ty and Julian combined wouldn't have gone for 3-0 or Bernabeu, right?
I just think that's
Let me
the
tell you
American.
this.
I just think that's the American way, and they think, yeah, you know what? I'm like, the Premier League is so complex.
Exaggerated, in my opinion. He's
Got
exaggerated.
to believe
stuff.
in his team, no?
Listen.
You
There's
can't
hope
sit
and
there
belief,
going,
but
"Oh,
there's
I'll take a
delusion.
draw."
Nah, you know what I mean?
There's hope and belief, and there's
Two
delusion.
legs, you even say we
The
catch
other-
him back on the next one.
The other thing which is mad is this recruitment thing is literally like an animal throw a dart. I don't get it. I've not understood any of it. And I've spoken to Matisse about this.
Because he sacked them all. He sacked all the good recruitment people.
Listen, it's basically like taking all the parts of Brighton, the Ferrari, and making a Fiat car.
You are being rude.
So if you're 11th in the league, you've not got to 40 points.
I agree, but that's mean. You've really hurt my feelings.
Matisse, is that mean? Yeah, there we go.
No
Right?
comment.
So this is why I'm saying to you, there might not be a bright future with Todd.
Peugeot
It might be great.
206.
It might be great that you've got like the money, you can go splash, you can go spend hundreds of millions on Enzo Fernandez, and that will continue, I'm sure. But you need to have a plan of where it is, because they weren't Potter signings for me. This was this man going, who do Arsenal want? Who does City want? Oh, is he going to be good?
100%. But that's what I'm saying. That was the issue with him. He's so uneducated in the sport that he thought, and I don't know how American sports work, but the Premier League certainly isn't a case of he's amazing, I'll go buy all of those, and then they'll all just magically gel well together. That's not how it is.
He's also gone and signed Badiashile and Madueke and Carney from Aston Villa. I
like Badiashile.
My problem is that he's double stacking. He's double stacking on young players. And I've always said, you know, there's a reason why Giroud and Tammy worked. There's a reason why Reece James and Azpilicueta worked. There's a reason why Jesus and Aguero worked. And you can keep going. You need some experience next to that youth to balance it out. If you double stack on young players,
That haven't played Premier League as well.
you end up killing them both. Like, you know, you kill two birds with one stone. You end up, no two young, quality, talented players are going to compete for the same position for 10 years. It doesn't happen. One
really
gets
good point.
disgruntled and wants to move on and
And
progress
the
their
thing is,
career.
Matisse, 600 million pounds have been spent on this team. And I looked at the 1 to 11.
I thought it was 5.
No, or is it 5? Close to 6 then. I looked at the 1 to 11 with you at the weekend, and me and James were like, 600 million? And that's what it is? I mean, it needs a lot of surgery still. So how much money is going to be spent? Like, I don't know. I have concerns. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd have concerns about
We have
where we were spending it.
concerns
Yeah, there
every
we go.
day.
That's why I'm going for a bright future
What
for
do you
us.
can't believe?
With the Pochettino appointment, which looks like obviously not confirmed at the time of recording, but it looks like that's very much going to happen. Is Todd Bowley going to? Because this is the only way for me Chelsea have a really bright future, and I've actually made a video on this. But it's you let Poch do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Like you listen to him.
Yeah.
You don't
Listen,
go
Poch.
here, have this guy, have this, because I don't think Graham Potter's a bad manager.
No.
I don't think it's that. I just think he came into an impossible situation, and this whole talk about a long-term project. We didn't need a project. We're not Wrexham FC. We don't need a huge influx of cash
They got more points
to
than you
like
lot.
to stop
They had a
it.
better season.
You're being rude again.
Season.
Let me finish my point without being rude. Me and
Tough-
you outside
tough crowd,
after this.
tough crowd.
Right. No, but we didn't need it. We just needed to sign a couple of strikers and, you know, keep the boat flowing, you know, a couple of defenders here, there. That would have been fine. We've got
But
more
this is what I'm
midfielders than we
saying,
know
though,
what to do
Soph.
with.
Hold on, wait a minute. You've got a striker. He's
Who?
over there.
Bamian.
He's over there in Italy at the
No,
moment.
I'm not
right?
talking about Lukaku. No, we had this argument on the train.
He's in a Champions League semi-final.
No.
That's your striker. You paid
He
100
came out
million
and
pounds.
said he came out and said
You
he
lot are-
doesn't
you lot are
like
mad
playing.
over there, man.
He came out and said he doesn't like playing for Chelsea. He
No,
doesn't want to be
serious.
there.
You paid
He said he should have stayed at
100
Inter.
million pounds.
He doesn't
for
want to be
Lukaku.
there, so he's not going to ever play
And
well
he's
for
on
Chelsea.
loan
But he doesn't
at
want
Inter
to be
Milan,
at Chelsea.
and he's about to play in the Champions
So he
League
can't be
semi-final.
bothered, and he may as well just go and play for the other team. It's pointless. He
No,
doesn't
but
want to play
I'm
for us.
just saying, right? I'm looking at your club and I'm like, so much of what you do makes no sense.
No,
How
but-
can you have $100 million striker out on loan?
Because he didn't want to play for us.
And that wasn't even Bowley, yeah.
And he fell out with Tuchel.
If you let me put this in an analogy, right? Because I agree with you, it is a mess. You spend 100 million on this player doesn't run out of contract until 2025, I think. He's on 325k a week.
This is the one who's going to win you the league.
If you continue to date, yes, and you continue to be cheated on, or you continue to cheat, or you continue to catch diseases, you do not continue to keep going.
What an
or you do
analogy.
not go backwards to the X's and continue to keep making the same mistakes and have the same troubles.
Didn't have to
You
bring up my
take a
private
break.
life,
You have to
Matisse, come
move
on.
So Lukaku is the X. This is
Yeah, he
toxic.
is an ex- he
This
is-
is a player
he's
that
toxic.
has disrespected the club, that has said he
Yes.
doesn't want to come back, that
He didn't
does not
score.
does not suit the style of play of Poch, does not press.
And wasn't scoring.
Poch was leading in distance covered at Southampton and Tottenham. This is a guy that wants fitness to be. This guy was overweight at Inter Milan. This guy is on the bench for a 37-year-old Edin Dzeko. This guy has 4 open play goals since like September. This guy is not coming back here.
No.
It's more than any strikers. Even them 4 goals is more than any of your strikers that you've got at your club.
I'd rather play Kepa up front.
If the standards are here, and he is here, that is not good enough. That is not
But
good
listen,
enough.
I
I just saw Isak moving like Thierry Henry the other day, right? With that dribbling, taking on players, weaving through. Newcastle got 2 strikers better than us. And I'm talking about Lukaku in that. I would take
Isak
those
is
2.
cold, man.
Look at them.
But
these are the competitors.
spend
Newcastle
more
actually
money.
are a prime example
No, we
of
shouldn't.
somebody who really knows
Should
what they're
scout.
doing up there and knows exactly who to buy and in the right places. Trippier, Dan Burn. I mean, the list could go on.
But that's
No,
true.
go and
But
check out-
then
Go
that's
and
what
look
we're
at the
saying.
free
That you're,
agents. Go and
That's
look
what I'm saying. Yeah, we have issues there. But one thing I do think, going back to the original question with Poch coming in, and people might not agree with what I'm going to say. I think Poch and Tuchel are similar in the way they would have control over the team. They wouldn't put up with any crap. They'd be very assertive, but then they don't have the biggest ego out there. They're just there, but they are going to be
But is
strict.
Bowley going to accept that if you don't take any crap? Because he did it with Tuchel. They obviously fell out, didn't they?
No, it's not about that. I don't think Tuchel was
If-
sacked for that.
if-
We'll never know why he was sacked. I
Todd
think
Bo-
he needs somebody strict.
If Todd Bowie gets this appointment wrong, and I think Poch is a really, really good appointment. He develops young players. We're buying young players. He's got Premier League experience. We need it currently.
He's
with
the
our
only one that
ownership.
could do anything with
and,
Tottenham.
And on top of that as well, I think he's very underrated. If Bowie gets this wrong, and he is strolling into changing rooms and telling players that they're not playing to the level needed, if he's picking the lineups, if he's making score predictions like as if we're doing previews, if he's doing all of that,
Getting tips from James
the
Corden.
fans at some point the fans will lose patience and they will turn.
yeah.
So I don't think Todd Bowie
no, but
has.
the thing is, it's a bit different to a manager. If he was describing a manager there, right? But he owns the club. He's going to be there for many years.
I
right?
agree. But many
years.
But he cares about fan opinion. He cares about how he's perceived. He's in Twitter Spaces listening. So I think if the fans were to respond and make a lot of noise,
But that's part of the problem, Matisse.
it is.
When
When Pacey Pulisic is recommending that we sign Mbappe, he's sitting there thinking, you know what? Screw this FFP stuff. I think I might just get that done.
No, but listen,
that's why. But that's why
I
I feel.
appreciate his ambition, I do.
I feel in the future, that's why I feel that Arsenal will be, will be challenging for the league more than Chelsea in the future. Yes, Chelsea have got the money. Yes, Chelsea have got the players, but I just don't think.
But Robbie,
it's just
It's gonna
madness going on over there.
it's gonna
I think
take 3 or 4
10-year
years for us to
contracts
get
and
back.
8-year
I'm going to flip this
contracts
on
is
you. I'm going to
crazy.
flip this on you two though, because yes, things are looking great for Arsenal now, but the Cronkies last few years have spent, but for a long time, we all remember the protests. Who's to say they don't revert? Who's to say Arteta didn't just get it right this year? But actually, I mean, look how far Liverpool fell this season from last season. So there's no guarantee that what Arsenal have built is actually going to have the longevity we think it will.
You're right in what you say there. The thing is with the Cronkies, the last couple of years since they've been total ownership, things have completely changed. Not just for how the fans have viewed them, but how we've seemed to actually have for the first time in a long time, they seem to care a lot more now. Particularly Josh has come forward and been the forefront of that, right? Now, when you're a majority shareholder, if you've got a house and it ain't yours, you're going to clean the windows, but you ain't going to refurbish it, are you? Now it's your house, you're going to refurbish it.
Yeah, definitely,
And that's
yeah.
now what we're looking at with the Cronkies at Arsenal. And we've started to see now him back Mikel Arteta. I've never seen the Cronkies do that with Wenger. Didn't really see it with Emery. Completely different board under him as well. Now we've got the board, the ownership, and it seems Mikel and Arteta and Edu all singing off the same hymn sheet. It looks to me as if now it's a team moving forward. And we're starting to see some serious money being spent. Now, let's not get it twisted. We still need a massive summer. Yeah, I'm not talking about buying another couple of Jorginhos and a couple of Trossards. I'm talking about going and getting the Declan Rices, the Moses Caicedos, those type of players that are going to be coming in and competing for that first 11. That's what Arsenal need to do. So I do see a brighter future because for me, it's not about the spend because Chelsea have spent mental money, right? But you've got to have some form of plan. For me, I just see it a little bit all over the place. And I again say it, I look at the Chelsea side right now and it's really hard for me to see where £600 million has been spent.
I hear that, but they've shown an intention to spend. Bowley has shown, I know what you mean about him not being Abramovich, but he's shown a willingness to invest in this team. Shows he cares. He's going to women's games, academies games, men's games. He's covering the club. If Arteta, 1 year of Champions League football, another runners-up medal, Barcelona come calling, who's to say the whole thing doesn't come falling down? Because Arteta is the driving force behind everything.
He is the driving force, but then you've got to be sort of keep. To me, the foundations are there, though. The foundations. Arteta's been the driving force. Arteta's been excellent, but we're building a better team. When you look at the players we've got, are a lot better than the players that we've had in recent years. And when you look at the type of players that Arsenal
how long do they stay if we don't win anything?
Well, that's it. But I just feel that I think if you're looking at the two teams, Arsenal and Chelsea, I just feel that when it comes to like the Premier League, we'll be challenging higher up the Premier League than Chelsea over the next 5 to 10 years.
I think that's a bit strong.
But with what I've
definitely
seen,
definitely the next 2 or 3 years. Yes.
No, because I don't think you can just spend your way to.
No, but I don't think. I don't think if Todd.
We're going to get transfer banned. We're not going to spend anymore.
No, yeah.
But and what if that happens? I mean,
that's good.
Another transfer embargo.
As I said, I mean, it's about building foundations. It's about. I mean, look at how well Brighton have done.
We are redeveloping the stadium.
But I do think Todd he must have realised that by now very quickly. He's made some poor decisions. If he hasn't, then he's clearly very delusional and maybe needs to go and see a psychiatrist.
What are you lot going to do in the? You know what I'd like to know. Yeah, what are you going to do in the summer?
Sell. It's going to be a yard. It's going to be a yard sell.
I don't know.
Lemonade stand. We're going to be selling.
Yeah, I'm just saying, recruitment-wise, what are you going to do?
No, we don't need to recruit. We need to sell. We know
it's an issue.
I have a list as long as
who would you sell?
As a sell to the Premier League before June 30th to get a load of signings on this year's books.
Fantastic.
Who would you sell?
Who should we take?
Who would I sell? I would sell
Koulibaly.
I would
Kepa.
sell Gallagher. I would sell Aubameyang, Ziyech, Pulisic.
Gallagher's a top goal scorer. Respect.
Pulisic.
This month, yeah. That means the stocks are high. Sell him.
Now listen, I like Conor Gallagher, but I don't know if he's right for this team.
Aspilicueta.
I love Dave, but yeah. Kepa's got to go. I mean, the whole
Sterling. Would you sell Sterling?
Let's put it this way.
I've actually got faith in Sterling, but if Sterling doesn't want to be here,
everybody apart from Mason Mount, and this is providing these other players stay fit.
Contracts not renewed.
Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Kante, and Mudryk. The rest I couldn't care about.
Madueke, Fofana, Badu Shile.
Would you take
at a stretch?
If Mount goes to Arsenal? Was that
if who?
If Mount goes to Arsenal? Apparently they're in talks.
Well then, wow.
Toodaloo.
We have quite a situation on our hands. So seems like you need to give us Saka and
but just been naming out all those players. Don't you think, Dan? Right?
That's a lot of players.
That's a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna so that you start to look at it. It's going to take a long time. And I think you struggle to get rid of.
Well, he's got Paul Winstanley.
Well, hopefully we can.
These guys as well.
Yeah, they've got to go.
He's got Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart as kind of the guys apparently reportedly in charge of outgoings. So there's directors purely there to do that because it is a lot of players. You're right, but some of those players have market value. Pulisic, market value. Gallagher, market value. They need to get rid of these guys, and they need to bring that squad right down in terms of the numbers. And that's a lot. That's a lot of money to come in and balance the books.
Like Babe said, they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. And our piano is slightly broken.
Okay, but you got the money for a new piano. So
facts.
Let's all right. Let's find.
I've got 10 pianos.
Hands up if Chelsea are going to win the most trophies and have the brighter next 10 years.
You said 10 years. I'm in. Let's go.
Hands up for Arsenal.
We're going to do this.
It's 2 and 2.
We can do it.
We're not going to do this.
That's what I said to you about the title.
We just need to hang in there.
We do. We need to suffer.
But after Arsenal, I'm not going to the games anymore until next season.
Fair enough. All right. Let us know in the comments section below what you think. Who will have the brighter future? Let's, of course, thank our panel. We had Robbie and Dan Potts from AFTV, DR Sports, and Dan and his 12th Man podcast. I did that, football's 12th Man podcast. Why do I always get that wrong?
Don't worry.
So I'm going to put the link in the description below, so you have to rely on me butchering it. And of Sophie, of course, big thank you. Where can everyone find you? Let them know.
Twitter.
At the minute,
Instagram.
just Instagram, Sophie Rose Insta.
There you go, and Matisse.
Myself, MAH, 3 letters, nice and easy to type in. Subscribe, smash up the likes, big up your sound.
There we go. Hit the like button, subscribe to AFTV, and we'll see you very soon.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.